Welcome to today's Explainer. I'm so thrilled you're joining us because we're looking at a truly fascinating medical reality today. We're going to explore exactly why hearts over 60 struggle, why the cardiovascular system faces such unique challenges in those later decades, and more importantly, how your body is quietly broadcasting those challenges to you. If you or someone you love is over 60, this is an explainer you absolutely cannot afford to miss. We're about to decode the secret language of your circulatory system. And honestly, the best part? You don't need a single piece of medical equipment to do it. Okay, let's dive right into this. I want you to literally look down at your hands right now. Take a good look at your fingernails. We so often think predicting cardiovascular issues requires, an MRI, a complex EKG, or a massive blood panel. But what if a huge medical mystery is hiding in plain sight, right there at your fingertips? For decades, cardiologists have known that your nails are quietly recording what your heart and your blood vessels are doing every single day. The problem is, almost nobody is taught how to actually read them. To understand why this happens, let's just consider a heart in its 30s versus one past 60. In our younger years, the heart and blood vessels have these enormous reserves. The body can easily mask early dysfunction for a long time without anything showing up on the outside. But after 60, well, those reserves narrow. Now, this isn't because the body is broken, it's just because it's been running efficiently for 6 whole decades. The margin for quiet dysfunction simply shrinks. So cardiovascular problems start to develop silently, without any of those dramatic symptoms like chest pain, until something serious actually happens. So the crucial point here is understanding the biology behind the nail matrix. This is a layer of living cells just beneath the base of each nail, and it's in constant contact with your bloodstream. The capillaries beneath your nail bed are some of the tiniest blood vessels you have in your entire body. And because they're so incredibly small, they have the absolute least reserve. When your cardiovascular system starts to struggle even a tiny, tiny bit, these tiny vessels are the very first to show signs of trouble. They act as your body's earliest warning system. So that brings us to our first major cardiovascular clue. Clue number 1, the color warning and how to spot cyanosis. Take Frank, for example, a retired postal worker from Florida. For about a year, he noticed his nails looked slightly purplish at the base. This is a classic sign of something called peripheral cyanosis. This happens when that bluish tint is only on the nails, acting as a gentle warning sign of sluggish circulation. But, and this is absolutely crucial, we have to differentiate this from central cyanosis. If that bluish tint appears on your nails, but also on your lips, tongue, and mouth, that means the blood leaving the heart is lacking oxygen. That's an immediate medical emergency. For Frank, though, his daughter noticing that peripheral warning sign led to an echocardiogram that caught early-stage heart failure just in time for them to manage it with medication. Let's transition over to our second clue. Clue number 2, brittle nail growth and the slow growth warning. This symptom is constantly dismissed as just getting older. Let's look at Eleanor, a gardener from Vermont. Her peeling nails barely grew month to month, and she blamed dry winters, trying every supplement out there. But then she casually mentioned to her doctor that her legs felt super heavy when walking uphill. Eleanor didn't just have brittle nails. She had a triad of symptoms that strongly predicts peripheral artery disease, or PAD. It's this specific combination: brittle nails, cold hands and feet, and claudication, which is just a medical term for that specific leg cramping when you walk uphill that magically goes away when you rest. The really important thing to remember here is that the exact same plaque that causes heart attacks is what narrows the arteries leading to your fingertips. So if you notice this triad, it definitely warrants asking your doctor for a simple ABI test to check your arterial health. Moving right along to clue number 3, this is the 5-second test to check your capillary refill. Now, this is a real-time interactive workshop, and I actually want you to do this right alongside me. This exact test uncovered an undiagnosed, life-threatening condition for a man named Walter from Kansas. He literally did this sitting in his living room, and it completely changed his health trajectory. Ready? Step 1, hold your hand up at the level of your heart. Pick any fingernail. The index finger is great. Step 2, press down firmly on the nail with your other thumb for about 2 seconds until the nail bed turns white. Do it with me right now. Okay, step 3. Let go and let's count. 1001, 1002. Watch how quickly that normal pink color comes rushing back in. So what does this all mean? Well, if that pink color takes 3 seconds or longer to return across multiple fingers, that is a highly reliable marker. Now, you want to make sure you're in a warm room with warm hands because being cold can totally skew the results. But a consistently slow refill, that means your microvascular circulation is sluggish. In Walter's case, his color took nearly 5 seconds to return. That single, simple observation led his doctor to discover undiagnosed atrial fibrillation, which is a leading cause of stroke. Just because he did this simple test, Walter was put on therapy that very likely prevented a major stroke within that same year.
And now we arrive at clue number 4, missing half moons. We're going to check out your lunula.
I saved this one for last because it's genuinely the most surprising clue, and it's a diagnostic signal almost nobody is taught to look for, not even in standard checkups. Look at the base of your nails right now, right down just above the cuticle. Do you see a small, whitish crescent shape? That is called the lunula. It's actually the visible portion of your nail matrix, the exact spot where new tissue is forming in real time. It's pretty wild, but it is one of the most overlooked diagnostic signals in the entire human body. And this brilliantly illustrates that the key here isn't just having them. It's all about the pattern. If you look at your pinky finger right now and don't see a lunula, don't panic. A missing pinky lunula is completely normal. However, in a healthy adult, the thumb and the index finger almost always have a clearly visible lunula. If the lunulas on your thumbs and index fingers have disappeared or even just noticeably shrunk in recent years, that pattern change is a definite warning sign you shouldn't ignore. Color changes in the lunula are just as critical. A reddish lunula can actually indicate heart failure. A bluish lunula points right back to those oxygen and circulation issues we discussed earlier, and a pale lunula that kind of just fades into the nail, that suggests anemia and cardiovascular strain. Let me tell you about Dorothy, a 72-year-old from North Carolina. She joked to her daughter that her half moons had completely disappeared and faded to pale white. Well, because her daughter urged her to mention it to her doctor, they caught significant developing anemia and early signs of heart strain before a major event ever occurred. Her fading half moons were literally the very first observable sign. Let's move to our final section and see how this all builds into your 30-day action plan. You know, knowing these signs is one thing, but acting on them is where the life-saving potential really lives. Here's exactly what you should do, and remember, there's absolutely no need to panic. Today, take your hands over to a window with good natural daylight. Examine the color, the brittleness, do the 5-second test, and check your lunulas. Take a photograph of both hands right then and there so you have a visual record because gradual changes are super hard to remember. This week, write down detailed notes for your doctor. Which specific sign you saw, on which finger, and for how long. And within 30 days, if you observe 2 or more of these signs together, don't wait around for your annual physical. Call your doctor's office for a phone triage. And please, remember, do not self-diagnose. This timeline is simply here to make you a much more informed participant in your own medical appointments. I want to leave you with this really powerful thought. The 60s, 70s, and beyond are absolutely not a time when meaningful health interventions become impossible. Quite the opposite. Early detection dramatically alters outcomes, even in the later decades of life. Your aging heart has incredible potential for medical support and lifestyle intervention. Noticing these tiny clues on your hands empowers you to proactively protect your cardiovascular health. So, I leave you with this final, provocative question. What have your hands been trying to tell you all this time? Thank you so much for joining me in this interactive explainer. I strongly encourage you to share these life-saving clues with a spouse, a sibling, or a friend. The next person who learns this might just notice something on their own hands tonight that changes their life forever. Until next time, keep observing, keep learning, and stay healthy.